welcome back to my kitchen, cooking with Carol Diane on a cold winter day. I was out earlier in frigid weather, ate lunch about 17 degrees, and now it's about 28 out there. So what I'm going to fix for dinner tonight, or what I talked about in another video, are my cute little rock Cornish game hens. These things are the best, so easy to make, anybody can do it. So they were developed in Cornwall, England, better known as Indian game. It's just a little tiny bird weighing about probably 1 to 2 pounds, but the taste is what you're after. So what I like to do, this one is called Tyson. You're going to find them in the frozen section of your grocery store or food market, wherever you shop. But I like to just kind of cut them open from the bag. Now, most of the time, these do come frozen. Rarely do I see them that they're fresh. So I cut the bag open, it's all cut open. There's a lot of juice in there, and I like to take just some cool water in my sink and just rinse them off inside and out. That's what you want, inside and out. So there's the one little hen. I used to make these a lot years ago on winter days. But you can't think of anything else to eat and you want something a little bit different, this would be it. Like I said, they're not very big little birds, but for 1 or 2 or 4 people, this makes a nice little dinner. Okay, so there's the birds right there. Now what I'm going to put them in as far as the baking dish is, it's kind of funny, but at Christmas time, I got this nice little guy. And I just love him. It is a cast iron Dutch oven little pan. It's adorable. So go ahead and put your bird in there, both of them. Set them in there. We'll wipe this all nice and clean, get it the surface all nice and clean, because what I'm going to add is a little rub onto this on the outside with some seasoning. So use some either extra virgin oil or just some olive oil, whatever you have in your kitchen. Let's see if I can get the lid open here. This one was a brand new bottle. There we go. And it's a good 1 to 2 tablespoons. So let's just pour some in here, okay? 2 good squirts of that in there. Now, if you want to measure this out, get little measuring spoons, and you're going to need the one that is a half. And you want to add a half of a teaspoon of rosemary, good helping teaspoon. A half a teaspoon of your thyme. It's a half, yeah, half thyme. That in there. You're going to add a 1/4 of a teaspoon of garlic powder. I never can get these lids back on very well on my spices. Do you have that problem in your kitchen? I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. There's a 1/4 of the garlic powder. And then you're going to use salt and pepper. And I'd say the same thing if you want to measure it out or not. About a 1/4 of black pepper and a 1/4 of salt in there. Now that's your mix of your rub. Stir it together. Stir it all together. And then you want to just kind of pour this over. Let's see if I can get that up here where you kind of see it here. You just kind of want to pour it over your little birds. Pour it over, making sure that everything is coated. Rub it in real good. Pour the other side with it. Make sure the back side of the little hen is all taken care of with your nice rub. Get all the little goodies out of the pan. Can't miss a drop of this. It's good stuff. Okay? Then, wash your hands real well. Real well. You are dealing with poultry. You are. Okay, and I'm going to set him back over here because now I'm going to stuff my little birds. And I've always liked to put wild rice in these particular little hens. So let me grab that. Now I've had mine cooking for a little bit. And what I want to do is, and I can take this same bowl here, which I think I will, just rinse it out real good. Rinse it out. I have used Ben's Original on the long grain wild rice. You can use whatever wild rice, you know, that you like, that you prefer. I just grabbed that one. And I'm going to take, and that was 2 1/4 cups of water, which you put in a pan. It's one of these boxes right here. You've seen them. Or whatever kind you have, as long as you cook the rice. So let's add probably a good 2 cups, because you'll want about a cup in each bird. You really will. And to have a little bit left over. So that's my leftover now of that. But I'm going to jazz it up just a little bit by adding into this of the rice, by adding some fresh celery. You don't have to. You can leave this just like it is, but it just gives it a little extra flavor when you add some nice celery in it. Nice celery. Not like a dressing. It won't be like that because this wild rice already has the seasonings in it of what comes in the little package. There's a little package of seasoning in that box of Ben's Original wild rice. And I won't need very much. I'm going to go with just like a half a stalk of that. And then take some garden green onions. And probably only one of those, to tell you the truth. You just want a little extra flavor in there. Just dice them up a little bit small. Okay. And we'll add that in there to it. There we go on that. Guess I needed more spoons out here, didn't I? It's all right. Yeah. And then in this mixture of now the rice, the celery, and the onions, go ahead and add a little bit more of your pepper for seasoning in here to taste, and salt. That takes care of all the seasoning right there. We're going to stir that just a little bit more. And you can wait till your rice, you know, completely cools down if you want to do that. Doesn't really matter. Now you're going to take your little bird and you're going to put the wild rice down in the cavity of the bird. Stick it all down in there on each one. Now with this dinner, you can certainly have whatever as a side vegetable, but the main part of the meal is the little hen of the bird, to eat that, and the nice wild rice. That's why you kind of save a little bit extra out. So again, I'm just kind of guessing of a cup each on the wild rice per bird. Get it all down in there nice. Just like stuffing a turkey or a big baked chicken. It really is the same principle. I said these little birds, they don't cost a whole lot. They really don't, especially nowadays with everything at the grocery store so expensive. You want to shop around and get something different every now and then, and this would be a real good one to have as dinner. Okay, that's pretty full right there. Now what I like to do is take you some just cooking twine. Usually it comes like this, or if you have it on a great big little ball of twine, that's great too. And you don't need very much. You just take a little bit, because what you want to do, what I like to do is I start my little knot first. Not really a knot, it's just the You just start on one leg, and then you pull that leg across over to the next one. I like to wrap it twice around the other leg, and then go back and wrap him. And it's not going to fall apart. I mean, you won't need to really tie a knot in this or do anything. You're just making it where they kind of stay together. Okay? So there's one. Said, tie it where you can tie it off on one leg. They're not very big. Then grab that other leg, bring it over, wrap it around that leg, and then go back to your first leg. Wrap it again if you want to. If you want to tie it off on this one that you first started with, that's fine. Tie it off there. I said, you won't need very much of the string. Don't worry about it. Okay, I'm going to be putting this in a 350-degree oven. Get him down in there a little bit. It's already got the juice from my olive oil in there, so you really don't need anything else. I'm going to put the lid on my pan now. I think you went that way. Yeah. And now I'm going to stick this in the oven for a good 40 to 45 minutes. And then I will bring it out and show you what it looks like. And usually I cut them right down the middle, and that makes a nice portion, just a half of the little hen for one person, or whatever, you know, whatever you want to do. I know my husband probably could eat the whole thing because they're not that large, they really aren't. So while this is in the oven baking of cooking my little hens, now I'm going to pop over to my counter here, and I'm going to make a cherry cake for dessert. So I'll catch you in a few. Okay, I'm back on. My rock Cornish game hens are still cooking in the oven, 350 degrees for a good 40-45 minutes. But now I'm going to make my favorite dessert. If anybody would ever ask me, well, Diane, what's your favorite cake, even growing up? Cherry. It's always been cherry, whether it's a cherry chip or whatever, but I'm making a homemade cherry cake, easy, not out of a box from the grocery store. Okay, so let's begin. The first thing that you will need is 1 1/2 cup of just regular sugar. Pour that into your mixer, the whole thing in. Then you're going to need 3/4 cup of butter softened, and mine is, so that is 1/2 of one stick and 1/2 of another, which it's a full stick, which is 1/2 cup, and then 1/2 of another stick is your 3/4 cup. Add that into your mixer. All nice in there. Let's get the little guy here. This is going to make for a nice comfort food, cozy food tonight, of having the rock Cornish game hens and the wild rice and a nice little vegetable to go along with it. I don't know what I'm going to fix yet. Maybe some mixed vegetables. You know, I don't have to go fancy on that at all. I could do some glazed carrots. I don't know yet. Right now I'm going to get the cake done. Okay, so that's the butter. Now you're going to start the machine, of course, to get that going. And you want to mix that. Like I said, rule of thumb is 5 minutes on mixing sugar and butter together to make sure it all blends nice and smooth. You don't want to go that full 5 minutes. Just keep an eye on it until you think, yeah, that's pretty well mixed together. You don't want any clumps in there in any way. I'm using my the paddle one with the little rubber edge on it so that I get everything on it. Then we're going to use 1/2 of a teaspoon of vanilla. Your choice, whatever vanilla. I'm using my Madagascar. Put some flavoring in there. Okay. And then we're going to use 3/4 cup of sour cream. 3/4 of a cup. Get my little knife here to get this open. This will make your cake have flavor, rise, and do what it's supposed to do. So let's see, I'll use this measuring cup for that. I thought I'd try over here today and see how I liked it over here, doing it this way. And see if you can see it too. I hope you can. I hope you can. Okay, so you just kind of smash that down and make sure that it comes to 3/4 of a cup, which it does. Which it does. Get it off my counter here. And add that now to this creamed mixture. All that in there. Don't put everything in all at once. Just do it kind of one at a time. It'll come out better. That's my flavoring now and the sour cream. That whipped up nice. Now what I'm going to take is, this recipe calls for 1 egg and 4 egg whites. So we'll go ahead with, how about a really large egg to begin with. We'll do that one. 1 egg. These are my farm fresh eggs that I like to get. And we'll go ahead with the 4 egg whites. If you have an egg separator, go ahead and use that. If you're used to doing the egg whites like this, sometimes they can be a little tricky because they kind of want that yellow yolk. 2, this is 3, and 4. Go. And 4. Rinse my hands and get that off of me. Okay, so back to the mixer. Gonna mix that 1 egg in there so it is nice and creamy. Now I'm going to add the egg whites. Mix them up. Mix those up. Okay, we're going to need, let's see, 2½ cups of all-purpose flour, and to that, you will need to put 4 teaspoons of baking powder. A teaspoon run out here. There it is. So 4 teaspoons. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Stir that up in there. Get that in the dry ingredients. Now we're going to slowly add this in. Turn your mixer back on. Slowly add this. Just a little bit at a time. Don't want to overwhelm your cake. That's going in nice. Now the half. Okay. And then you're going to need 1/4 cup of milk. That in there. And then they want a half of a cup of the maraschino cherries of the juice. Pour that into any kind of a measuring cup. That's going to give it some flavor, isn't it? And yes, make it pink in color, but we're not done yet. Now we need a good 3/4 of a cup. And I'll just use my little one right here. 3/4 of a cup of chopped up cherries. Here. So I'm just going to put them out on my board. And if you have the ones, let's see. Some of mine have the stems on them. Let's see what this one is. These are the ones I wanted. That's all right. I'm going to use these on the top anyway. But I'm going to take these now. I'm going to dump this juice in here. So I already have my juice. Put some of these out here. Oh, that's looking so, it smells divine. It just does. It smells so good. So it's up to you whether you want larger cherries in your cake or whether you want little bite-sized pizzas. And if you do little bite-sized pieces, not pizzas, pieces, then you're gonna have to cut that half in two again. Again, just slice them up, stick them in here. Like I said, save the ones that have the little stem on them because they always look pretty on the outside of the cake on the top of the frosting part. I'll show you how to make the frosting too. A little different type of frosting on this particular one. A little different. So good. Really good. Making these a little bit bigger, and that's fine for right now. I don't have a whole lot of time tonight. I really don't. But I try to do simple meals to show you. This was in, if you had watched my video when I went to the store and kept it under $200. And I said that you could make 7 meals in that of what I purchased. Well, one of them was the Rock Cornish game hens. And for people that have never made Rock Cornish game hens, I wanted to show you how quick they are to put together. That's pretty good right there. Okay, we're going to add this to the cake now. Put all that in. Turn it on again and mix that. I have gone ahead and prepared 2 cake pans that I have sprayed, put the flour in, and then I put some parchment paper on the bottom to get the cake out nice and easy. Nice and easy. So let's clean up my little mess here a little bit. And we'll go ahead and stick these, I think, back in this jar until I'm ready to use them. Because like I said, that's going to go on the outside of the cake. Get all that taken care of. Sticky juice, but we're gonna go with it and use it. Just kind of cleaned up here. And it's coming right along. It really is. Doing fine. Doing fine. Okay, so let's get our cake pans going over here. And I had a spatula, but I'll get a clean one. See how this turned out. I said I used a different blade because I wanted to get everything, and that's these blades that have the little rubber end that goes around the side and pretty well catches everything. It really does. It catches all of it. So that's this blade right here. All right. I like to make sure that everything on the bottom has well mixed into the cake. Just make sure that that sour cream is incorporated now into that cherry juice. Looks like it is, so I think we're all right. So take half of it, put in one pan, half of it in the other pan. Simple. Simple, simple. You can do it. Take some more and put in your first pan. And this is going in the same temperature oven as the Rock Cornish game hens. This is going to go in a 350 oven. We're going to bake this probably about 24 to 26 minutes, somewhere in there. Just keep an eye on it. Test it always with the cake tester when it's ready. Now I'm going to cook this in the same oven with my Rock Cornish game hens, because these pans will fit in there and it'll be just fine. Get all that goodie off of there. Put it in the cake. That's what you want. Put it in the cake. Alrighty, so I will be back on just as soon as the Rock Cornish game hens get out of the oven, so that I can show you those and what I've put together with my dinner tonight, and then I'll jump back on to show you the frosting of what I'm making for my cherry cake. It'll be nice and good. Hang on. Okay, I'm back. The Rock Cornish game hens are out of the oven, and I wanted to show you this. So I'm going to take the lid off. I'm going to set this over on my stove a minute. Very, very, very hot. Very, very, very hot. Here are the little Rock Cornish game hens, if you can see that. Looks really nice, doesn't it? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut that twine off. Get it off the bird. We just needed the legs to kind of just stay a little bit together to keep that wild rice in there. And they did. These smell so good. And the herbs of the rosemary and the thyme, oh my gosh, it makes it smell so good. And these will taste good. Trust me, these will. Let's kind of get that off of there, of the twine. Got it all there. To stick to my fingers. Really wants to stick to my fingers there. Oh, for heaven's sakes. There. That one off. And then I will grab a bigger spoon to get them out, because you need to get them out of the pan and let them rest. Let them rest. So I'm going to put mine on this tray that I have right here. And pretty simple. Just kind of lift them out. There's a lot of juice down in there, and you want that juice if you're going to, you know, if you want to baste them again, or just to have. They're just nice to have. That nice juice down there. They just smell wonderful. They really do. Okay, so that's the little Rock Cornish game hens. I'll set this over here on my stove. Get it out of the way. While those are resting, then I went ahead and I took out the two. Here are the cherry cakes. And they're going to sit over here and finish cooling. They need to cool some more because they're still very, very hot. When I get this ready to put on the dinner plate that we're going to eat this, I'm going to cut it right down the middle. So each one of us gets half. Unless husband wants the whole bird, I don't know. But I am going to cut it right down the middle. I will have an extra side of the wild rice, And tonight I just heated up some frozen peas as my vegetable to have, and I think we're gonna like that. So I will show you the picture at the end of the video of what it looks like on the plate. But now I'm on to, let me set all this aside, and then I'm gonna show you how to make this nice cherry frosting that goes on the cakes. I'll be right back. Okay, here we go with the frosting. So what you will need is, you're gonna need 1.5 of the little sticks of butter, 1.5 cups of the butter. And again, they need to be at either room temperature or that you have softened them in your microwave just a little bit. You don't want to melt it, but you do want nice, soft, real butter. So there's my 1 right there, and then this is my half. What I'm gonna do, get it out. And even though I'm making my frosting right now, while my cakes are cooling, that'll be just fine, because I can just stick this frosting in the refrigerator until those cakes are completely cooled. You never want to ice a cake when your cake is still just even a little bit warm, because your frosting is going to melt on it, and that just would not be good at all. Okay, so that's in there. This particular recipe is a little different on the frosting, and it calls for 1 1/2 cups of the shortening. And the fastest way to do that, of what I was raised to do, is to get a measuring cup and go ahead and fill it with the 1 1/2, right there, 1 1/2 cups of water. And now we're going to take Crisco, and I don't have a whole lot of Crisco in my, grab another, never seem to have anything out when I want it, do I? That's Diane's kitchen for you. I have all the stuff, but it's not out on the counter. So I take this now, and I start putting it in the water until it gets up to the 2 1/2. And that's my measurement. But because I don't have that much, I really thought I had another regular Crisco, but I'm going to substitute, because I have it, with the butter flavor Crisco oil. It's not going to hurt this at all. I'm almost there anyway at 2 cups. Set this aside, and the butter flavor just looks like this. Just in a yellow container that says Crisco butter flavor. And that's what I'm going to use. Crisco's Crisco. I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference, but the original recipe does call for the regular Crisco. Some more in there. Now you can do this a little different way. You can go ahead and just put it in a measuring cup, but really adding the water to this to do this, there's my 2 1/2 right there, is more accurate. Then you pour out all that water, because of course you don't want that. You just go ahead and pour out all that water. Now we're going to add this along with the butter in here. Put that in there. Okay. And then we start our mixer again. Up. And start it. And mix the butter and the shortening together. Well, get it in there, mixed well. Well. If you don't want to use the whip blade and you want to go back to the blade like what I had with a little rubber end on the side, to make sure you get it all, go ahead and do that. I like to stop my mixer and go to the sides and make sure everything is mixed up in here. Oh, you have no idea how good my kitchen smells right now with that funny thing in. It's resting. The little birds are resting. They're going to be good. Now, with this one, like I said, it calls for a little different on how much on the powdered sugar. It calls for 12 cups of powdered sugar. Don't panic. Do not panic. Let me get something else to get this out with. Let's take another measuring, because I don't really want it all over my kitchen tonight. So I'm going to slowly add all this powdered sugar in here. And I'll go ahead and turn it on low. Low here. I'm also going to be adding the cherry juice of either about 5 to 6 tablespoons of the cherry juice. We'll go ahead with one just while that powdered sugar's in there. We'll go ahead with another one. And we keep going with the powdered sugar. I want to get it all mixed in nice. Add some more of the juice in there. That was only 2 tablespoons. Let's go 3 now. While it's mixing, it's better to go slow on things than to put it all in and think, well, why didn't that come out? It will. It'll come out. It's starting to blend in now, nicely. Starting to get that nice pink color. I don't even have to add food coloring because the coloring off of the juice is going to work just fine. Let's add some more. Oh, this is going to taste so good. So good. Let's add a little bit more juice. Get that cherry out of there. And we got just a little bit. Whip it, whip it, whip it. Whip it, whip it, whip it. Let's check this out here. Okay, this is a firmer, lot firmer frosting. I'm going to go ahead and grab just a little bit of milk. That's always a lifesaver. The juice is great, but I don't have a whole lot of juice left in this container. See if I can get a little bit more out of here. Just a little bit here. But it's still a little bit too thick to put on the cake. It would just tear up the cake. So just add a little bit of milk in here. Turn it back on. You'd be surprised what 1 or 2 tablespoons or even teaspoons of milk does to frosting. I need my camera down in the mixer bowl, don't I? And again, I want to get every bit of this where it's blended the same. So go along your mixer and get everything. This is what it looks like. Which is going to look really nice. So I'll keep with that of going until my cakes are completely cooled, and then I will ice my cake and I will show you what my dinner looks like tonight. I want you to still stay with me on my website, cookingwithcaroldiane.com. You can still buy my first cookbook on that particular website. I really am still in the process of completing the second cookbook. It takes a while, it really does. But what I'm most proud about right now, I mean, it was just something that was a lifelong dream come true. You ever have one of those that you've done something and you actually finished it? And I did. So years ago, I wrote a novel. And I finally got it published. It's out on Amazon. If you'd like to see it, it's called Crossroads, and by C. Diane Wall. That's me, and that's my little book that's finally out there for the world to see and read, my little book. And I hope you buy one. I really do. If you do, give me a shout out either on my website or on this, Facebook or YouTube. I don't care which. Just tell me you're communicating with me. But I'm awful proud of it and excited. So I'll be back on, like I said, to show you the rest of this dinner, because it's a yummy dinner tonight. So easy for you to make. Try the rock Cornish game hens. Get it to the temperature of about 160 to 165, depending in there. It will get to that once it starts cooling down, of the cool down stage. You want them to rest on your platter or your dish or whatever you're doing. Any meat, you really should do that. The minute you take it out of the oven, whether you broil it, whatever you've done, let it sit on the counter and rest a good 10, maybe 15 minutes, depending on the meat. And that just soaks up all those juices and gets it to the right temperature for what you want. It doesn't overcook it, and it's quite tasty. It really is. So from my kitchen to yours tonight, I hope you're having a grand day. I hope you're staying in, staying well, no sicknesses, nothing, just kind of warm either by a nice open fire or curl up in your jammies with a nice fuzzy blanket, whatever it is. But go fix this comfort food, because it's pretty yummy. I'll catch you next time on Cooking with Carol Diane. Bye-bye now.